All hands on deck in Niger as the EU begins to evacuate its citizens for fear they may get trapped by the military coup.
Former US President Donald Trump charged in connection with attempts to overturn the results of the 2020 election.
Woodstock for Catholics. Thousands of pilgrims are in Lisbon for the World Youth Festival, and Pope Francis is the main event. Beijing underwater. Rescuers are scrambling to find missing people after torrential rain and deadly floods. The first of 3 planes sent by France to evacuate its nationals from Niger has arrived back to Paris. Together with Italy and Spain, EU citizens are being encouraged to leave for fear they may get trapped by last week's military coup. The junta have won backing from 3 other West African nations, also ruled by mutinous soldiers. The situation in the capital remains tense, with several demonstrations against the former colonial power, France. But Niger is in limbo after ECOWAS, the West African Economic Bloc, issued a week-long deadline to reinstate elected President Mohamed Bazoum, and time is running out. Niger's Prime Minister, who's been stuck outside the country since the uprising, has appealed to the international community for help.
C'est une situation qui peut s'arranger avant l'intervention militaire de la CEDEAO. Donc, moi, je suis optimiste par rapport à cela. D'abord, du fait que nous avons un président qui, certes, est en otage, mais un président qui a le moral et qui, effectivement, est prêt à affronter la situation telle qu'elle se présente. Mais aussi, les auteurs de coups d'État, on dit qu'ils sont des patriotes.
The first pictures of Niger's ousted president sitting next to Chad's leader, who is trying to mediate a solution, were published on Monday. So far, there is no sign of the junta leadership backing down. And Niger's neighbours, Burkina Faso, Mali and Guinea, have warned ECOWAS not to intervene.
Donald Trump has been charged by the US Justice Department for his efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. The charges include conspiracy to defraud the United States government and witness tampering. It's the 3rd criminal case brought against the former president as he seeks a 2nd term in the White House. The indictment document is 45 pages long. Among the 4 major charges, obstruction of an official proceeding carries up to 20 years in prison. The criminal case is especially stunning as it accuses Trump of assaulting the underpinnings of democracy in his frantic and ultimately failed effort to cling to power.
In this case, my office will seek a speedy trial so that our evidence can be tested in court and judged by a jury of citizens. In the meantime, I must emphasize that the indictment is only an allegation and that the defendant must be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law.
Trump has been summoned to appear before a judge in court in Washington, D.C. on Thursday. He already faces charges brought by Smith's team over alleged mishandling of classified documents in Florida. Trump also faces trial in New York for falsifying business records in hush money payments to an adult film star.
Several tens of thousands of pilgrims attending the opening Mass of World Youth Day in Lisbon, Portugal. The Catholic Youth Festival kicked off on Tuesday evening, but the highlight will be Pope Francis's visit, which begins Wednesday. The Argentinian Pope will then stay until the end of the event on Sunday, when a Mass will be celebrated by the Pontiff himself. With more than 1 million pilgrims expected in Portugal's capital, Lisbon is hoping for an economic boost for everything from its hotels to restaurants and food outlets. Everyone is cashing in, welcoming the visitors, especially if they are hungry.
Nós já fazemos umas bolachas, que é aquelas do anime, e para os miúdos, Homem-Aranha, Batman, e depois na brincadeira com o nosso chefe, resolvemos fazer com a cara do Papa, com várias figuras do Papa, várias fotografias.
Eu vou-lhe ser muito franco, vai depender da quantidade de pessoas que estão aqui a chegar a Lisboa. Portanto, se o número for tal qual como é projetado, a expectativa é de que se gerem umas centenas de milhões. Centenas de milhões. As expectativas são 300, 400, 500, podem até ser um pouco mais. Mas depende criticamente do número de pessoas que venham a Portugal.
World Youth Day has been dubbed the Catholic Woodstock, part of the Vatican's efforts to galvanise young Catholics at a time when secularism and clerical child sex abuse scandals have caused some of the faithful to abandon the church. But it's also a chance to mix and share beliefs and have a holiday.
Sirens and military parades through Warsaw mark the 79th anniversary of the city's uprising against the Nazis during World War II. Across the Polish capital, cars and public transport stopped for a minute to honor victims of the Warsaw Uprising. A 2-month rebellion by the Polish underground resistance that left some 180,000 people dead and a city completely destroyed. The Polish president told crowds it was a struggle that involved the entire city, not just fighters, and the act must never be forgotten. At least 18,000 insurgents were killed and another 25,000 were wounded after fighting erupted on August 1, 1944. The Polish capital fell to the Soviet army 1 year later.
Good news for NASA after it detected a heartbeat signal from its Voyager 2 probe. The spacecraft has been exploring the universe since 1977. But mission controllers lost contact with it over a week ago after sending a faulty command that tilted its antenna to point 2 degrees away from Earth. As a result, the probe, which is currently some 20 billion kilometers from Earth, stopped receiving commands or sending data. But the signal received on Tuesday has reassured the space agency that it's still functioning. Striking images of a supermoon as it rose over Greece's ancient temples on Tuesday. It was the first of 2 that will grace the skies in August, a rare occurrence. A supermoon occurs when the celestial body is full during the closest point in its orbit around the Earth, making it appear much bigger and brighter in the sky. It will be even closer on the 30th of August and will be called a blue moon, as it will be the second full moon to appear in 1 calendar month. There won't be another blue supermoon until 2032.
Sarah Brightman, one of the biggest names on the international music scene, offered a magical evening to attendees of this year's Sani Festival, Stars on the Hill in Greece. The award-winning and world's best-selling soprano with an angelic voice exceeding 3 octaves was adored by the audience, who flooded the hill of Sani Resort in Cassandra, Halkidiki. The British superstar was a pioneer in the classical crossover music scene, but where did her story start?
Nothing was calculative in what I did. I started off training to be a ballerina many years ago. It was all my mother knew what to do, because she was a dancer herself. And I think through that, through the ballet that I did every day, I loved the music, so it stayed within me. Then with the fusion of my understanding of music from the 60s and 70s, and there was a lot of fusion of classical and rock and everything then, I sort of just very naturally started to integrate everything.
The multi-award-winning soprano was designated Artist for Peace by UNESCO. In her opinion, the most urgent issue on the planet now is the climate crisis.
We're not powerful to be changing the climate. It's not us. But what we do need to do, because the climate is it's always, if you go right back in the past, before human beings were even around, you find that it has done these getting very hot, very cold. So that was going to happen anyway. What we need to do is clean up our act. We really do, so that we can adapt to climate change, which is going to happen anyway.
If an exceptional music career is not enough, Brightman has also accomplished many things in different fields. So is there anything else on her bucket list?
Because my career is very full on, and you have to give a lot to it. I keep my own life incredibly simple, and I find a lot of fun and beauty in actually very simple things, because actually there's a depth in the most simple things, and they can be most extraordinary. I've kept my life in a good sort of grounded place, so I'm part of up there and I'm very much part of down here.
The Stars tour schedule continues in the autumn with a series of concerts in Canada and the United States.